Hey, it's Patricia. Just in the little top.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hey, hello, chat room. Mwah. And obviously, Patricia, Flat Earth Dude, and we've got David here, and we are waiting for Matthew to join us. Hey, and first of all, Flat Earth Dude, if you heard, Santos can't make it today. He's ill.
Oh, nope. It's too bad.
He's
It's all
got
right.
food poisoning, and he really wasn't very well a couple of hours ago when he texted me.
He would want us to carry on.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I must admit, it's really like, no,
Yeah.
no.
Life's full of disappointments, but we will adjust accordingly.
But we're here, aren't we?
Yeah, we're here.
And thanks for still coming on, David or Dave. I don't know which one to call you. I don't know what to call you.
Brother or Dave, yeah, brother you can call me, or you can call me David. No, yeah, David, yeah, brother or David, yeah, that'll do.
It's
Dave's a bit
David,
common, yeah.
not Dave.
Chin chin.
You're not a Dave. You're a David.
Yes, a David would be better. Yes, that's the better. Yeah, please.
Okay, I'll do my little bit of news, and then we do the companion. Oh, there's Matthew. Hey, sorry. So Matthew will be on in a minute, and Flat Earth Dude's there. So, Flat Earth Dude, I went to work yesterday, and I was talking. I was talking to this person that I worked for, and I suddenly realised that what he was telling me was that he'd actually been a nuclear physicist. He's retired now. He's in his 80s, but you know, there's stuff around that you can see he was something. And I tried to tell him about Flat Earth yesterday, and he was horrified as being that he's a physicist. He was absolutely horrified. He just like, you cannot believe that. You seriously cannot believe that. And at one point, I did actually think, oh my God, this is going so wrong. This is a job. I'm so really sorry, Clive. I gave him a hug. And he went, oh, I like that. And I thought, oh. Anyway, he rang me up today, and I thought, oh, I was doing something else, so I didn't answer it. And I thought, well, I bet you when I look at this message, he's probably firing me now because I mentioned Flat Earth, and he didn't.
Right.
He said, I talked to a few people yesterday, and they seem to know about it. And I'm not saying you're right, but I'd like to have another conversation about this.
Wow.
There were some
That's
things
awesome.
I couldn't work out myself.
Excellent.
Yeah, as long as we're going to be doing that and not the cuddling bit. He's in his 80s.
That made my day. That's beautiful.
Yeah, like the thing is, I am at work, and I've got the day which I'm going in. He changed it so that he was away when I was supposed to go. So we changed it so I know that he's going to be there. And I was wondering whether he just let me tape a little bit of it, because obviously he was a nuclear scientist. And oh my goodness, I'm going to have to brush up on a few things, aren't I?
Water doesn't ban.
Yeah, Horizon. The Horizon's always at eye level.
Horizon, sea level.
I've already done the ball one. You know, like if you can make water stick to a ball, then I'll believe we're a ball. I always do that one now because it doesn't.
Right.
He tried to give me the theory, and I said, "Do you seriously believe that, Clive?" But the thing is, I never meant to sort of like offend him, but he wasn't really offended with me. He just offended at the information. Like, and now he's thought about it.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, brush up a little. You got it. No problem. Water can't bend, man. Gravity's a theory. Can't prove it.
Yeah, thing is though, Flat Earth Dude, I could probably do with you being there, but it's going to be about 9:30 in the morning, so that'll probably be, what's that, 1:30 in the evening for you, know, in the morning for you, so it's a bit late, really. I'll have to do it on my own, but anyway, maybe it's good I have the camera on, so we can't like get another cuddle in.
You know.
I only cuddled him because I was worried I'd upset him, you know, he's in his 80s. He's going, you can't believe, and I was going, yeah, I do.
So he called you back, said, I talked to a few people and I'd like to talk to you some more. Yeah, that's great. Wow. So yeah, you got it. It's easy, man. We got this down now. It's Really easy.
Yeah. Let's just see what happens to him. He did repeat me. I'm not saying I believe everything that you're right, but you've made me think now, and I'd like to know more about it.
Yeah, we got tricked.
He's not got a computer. You know, he's in his 80s. It's not his thing. He probably writes letters and things.
Right.
I don't see a computer there at all. So yeah, that's probably why he wants to talk. But anyway, we'll see, won't we? That's a week Tuesday.
273-mile picture of a mountain range. It should be 3 miles behind the curve. 3 miles.
Well, I just got a message from Matthew. He said that some of his friends just turned up, so he's got to deal with that. Ew.
It's all right. We'll just hang out.
Yeah.
David,
Patricia, unmute yourselves.
I'm on my way to but talk a little bit here and there. Yeah.
You're going where?
To a job. I gotta go to a piano, and then I can, listen. I'll listen, talk when I can.
Cool. Yeah, it is disappointing with Santos. I think we were all so looking forward to having this hangout with him. I don't know if people in the chat room know, but this time last year we were quite regularly having hangouts with Santos, and I really enjoyed them, and they were quite long as well. I think one of them we did with we did one hangout with him, or a couple of hangouts. They were about 6 hours long. They just go on and on. But anyway, with information. But anyway, David, unmute.
Shaba.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gutted. He seems to be going through peaks and troughs, good and bad. I don't know what to say other than we send him positive vibrations. I contain a lot of energy and I send it across the ether to my brethren, and I am charging him remotely and healing him remotely as we chat. Don't you worry. I've got crystals galore, energy galore, the consciousness, the vibration. If you lot do the same, man will be fixed in no time.
Yeah, I don't think he maybe he does know, I don't know, but the every hangout that we've ever had, his name has come up in it. It could have been mentioned 10 times, 20 times, 1 time, but his name is in practically all our hangouts.
You sounded like Wycliffe then. 1 time. He's a legend, that's why. He's an absolute legend.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not many people that don't probably know about Santos, is there? Especially if you're into flat Earth.
Yeah, he's great. Learned so much from him. Still got a lot to learn, but positive vibrations across the ether, man. To our brother in Santos, man. Hope he's feeling better and getting some good natural medications, hopefully.
Yeah. So what have you been doing lately, David?
Me, I've had a post shared 150 times from a group. You remember I said, did I tell you I was going to say hello to a Facebook family community called Exposing the Matrix of Lies with 133,000 souls in it? I may have. Did I mention that? I'm part of my news. I think I said,
you
news.
did, yeah.
Yeah, before. We've done that. We've been and said hello. Oh, that was energizing, to say the least. Responsive, receptive. I know it's the book of face, book and that, but shares, knowledge, spreading, peace and love, understanding, acceptance, wanting to cognize, and some already do. And I've taken some words from Santos's teachings, from a lot of mentors' teachings, and I surmised the birth certificate deception and the trusts that we've talked about before. And I just put a post, and I put several quite deep, probably tens of paragraphs long for them to look at over the time. And one of the posts has been shared 150 times. So
Wow.
yeah, that's amazing, because I get shares, but I get about 40, 30, 20, but 150 in a short time means that we've hit this jackpot, because yeah, that's good to see. So that's some positivity for you all, and a thank you back to everyone involved in that.
Oh, I'm really pleased for you.
I've got some bad news for a change. I know I come across with some like political, controversial issues and stuff, but I'd like to send out a warning to all mums and dads. A serious warning. This would be to Anglo mums and dads, not to to all. But at the minute, I've been made aware through first-hand knowledge of workmates talking in warehouses and it being fed back. Now, I know that sounds like Chinese whispers, but it isn't. Families have been chatting at a particular warehouse where I've got friends and family that work there, and what's been talked about is that somebody's son and daughter, they're separate, but there's been 4 young persons, sons and daughters abducted around the East Midlands area of this Anglo landmass, Derby, Burton-on-Trent, Staffordshire, and 3 young girls have been, to my knowledge, I only have first-hand knowledge of one of these cases claimed, but it seems that we need to be on extra guard, because yeah, we do community work, we do we do all sorts, and when people have a concern as well as information, they bring it to me and say, Dave, you need to just, you've got a mouth and you speak to a lot of people, so at some point can you just say. So I did a video on Facebook today, and that's had about 70 odd shares and a few hundred views, so that message has got out. And if I could just take a moment to make mums and dads extra careful, just to point out, I know it's not nice, and but it's true and it's happened, and the little cherubs, little souls, and 11 and 12-year-olds, 3 girls and a boy, have gone missing, we'll say. So yeah, I know it's not nice to mention, but you need to look after each other as we do, but we need to look after the little ones as well, because that's our job mainly, isn't it? They are the future.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but we come mostly with good news. It's a good time to be in this game, and we are making a lot of movement, a lot of noise, and I have made some jokes in the past as well. We like to keep it hearted, or light-hearted, and that. Moving on from that somber issue, in the trust and equity realm, there is a saying that there are three certainties that come with the trust. Your chat room, anybody that's knowledgeable within the equitable and trust laws, they will know about the 3 certainties that a trust may contain. So to have a little bit of wordplay, I came up with the 3 C's of history that I like to have a look at. Copernicus, which is what I was talking to you about before, the heliocentric theories and stuff. A man called Confucius, you may know of him. He was an Asian origin, very important in history for teachings. And then a man called Confucius, Copernicus, and Constantine. Constantine was a Roman, and he was around in 325, and Santos taught me about him, and he had something to do with rewriting the great book. So yeah, the 3 C's: Constantine, Confucius, and what was the other one I said? Constantine, Confucius.
You said books, yeah, because that's what they put Copernicus as now, isn't it? As a book. You think, what? Oh, dearie me.
Yeah, Copernicus, Constantine, and Confucius. The 3 C's. If none of your chat room know of them men, then I'd invite them to get to know, because yeah, it's interesting. That's all I've got to say. So yeah, we've got news, we've got good things happening. But I'm going to take a back seat and you take questions from the chat room, or I don't know if Patricia or Flat want to say anything. Let them go. Or question.
Yeah. Chat room. You know that David is into law, and so or the law of the land, or the other law, which just seems incredible that there is this other law, but we not supposed to know about it or use it or whatever. But anyway, David's here to ask questions. If anybody's got any questions in the chat room for David. But, you know, David did say you could be David today, that you didn't have to do a PowerPoint presentation today.
Yeah, or if any of you have got anything you want to talk about, or it doesn't have to be too heavyweight, can just be easy going, or if anybody wants anything explaining, then now's the time while we've got a bit. What is it, 5 to 10? Yeah.
Already, Leslie's said, why does no one talk about our restrictions today? I should have been beheaded by now. Town too small. Someone would notice. What does she mean by that?
Why does nobody talk about our restrictions today?
Who runs the gang stalking program?
What? Makes no sense. It's not enough information. What program? The same people that run the other programs, probably. The program runners. I don't know. That's a bit vague, isn't it? Next.
Yeah, I think that's something that's actually been happening in their own life, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but there's not enough to chew into there, I'm afraid.
Any questions? Because it looks like Matthew's probably not coming on now because his friends have turned up.
I've got more scary news for you. I'm sorry, I don't mean to scare you, but if you live up in the north of this landmass, Anglo landmass, namely Scotland, and for the other Anglo brothers and sisters that are listening and will pick up on the feed, another case of BSE, the first case in 10 years, has been found in a bovine mammal cow today or this week in Scotland, and they've released it via the news today, and they've assured that there's no risk to the public. Everything's fine, everything's clean and fine and dandy. It's the first case in 10 years and it's been eradicated. Nothing to worry about, okay? Just bringing you the news.
Damn, not looking good then, is it?
That's amazing, isn't it, that they've let that happen? Just put it out there for the chat room. In Scotland, you can find out on the web now. It's been confirmed, which means something's gone on wrong in the food chain distribution network. Yeah, get ready. Aberdeen Angus, I don't think so. I'm glad I eat my veg. Go on.
We got a salmonella poisoning warning. I'm not sure. I kind of caught a little bit of the news walking by, but it's like 100 cases of salmonella poisoning. And they don't know where it's coming from. So careful what you eat, man. Make sure it's cooked real well, I guess. Or eat, make sure you clean your vegetables really good as well.
Yeah, pesticides and spray and everything that's on them. But when you say, listen to this, when you say, brother, about salmonella, I won't go into the brand name, even though I know which one it is for legal purposes, because this is massive, what I'm about to proclaim. But in the news, because I worked in warehousing, I'm privy to certain batch and error news things that others aren't privy to. Ops managers talk, and ops managers tell their managers, and their managers tell their managers, and before you know it, all warehouses in district know the gossip, but it doesn't ever come out mainstream. And there was a milk brand. It went out on French media, I believe. It actually got broadcast, so you can find it. But there was a baby milk powder that was being circulated and sold, and probably still is, and I can't say the name, but you'll find it, and it was done for supplying infected baby milk that contained salmonella. I'm like, what? And it had been going on for about 10 years, and they found it after 10 years. I'm like, surely somebody's checking this shit, because it's baby stuff and that, and it's important, and it needs to be clean. Oh yeah, it's probably been going on for 10. Sorry about that. Sorry guys, sorry. Yeah, what do you say to that? Unforgivable.
Unforgivable. Yeah. Yes.
That's in baby food. So when you say people are getting salmonella, yeah, you're right. America has a lot of milk it doesn't know what to do with, because they put so much crap in the animals, and then to get the meat big, and then they get the milk, and they're like, well, we can't drink that, so they just powder it and send it to Europe, and then it gets put in cakes. I'm going on mute. Somebody find something to talk about quick.
Sorry, my daughter just came in for something. Yeah. None of that's good, is it? They Anthony, THC Anthony, who's coming on Tuesday, on that bit of video I put on of his, he said it was 1976, basically. They just ruined everything in the food, so that the food made the people ill, and then basically you needed to go to the doctors to get yourself better after that, because that was the plan. And in 1976. Not good, is it? Well, he passed something and it was all changing then. So that's not good, is it? None of it's good. None of it's... You might not have noticed what this was saying 10 years ago. You just notice it now, don't you? What it means, all these things. All to frighten us. But changing the subject a little bit, did everybody notice that YouTube went offline for a while the other day for everyone? Did anybody in the chat room notice that? Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did. I was on hanging out with Poncho, went down. We stayed on to hang out and watched a movie called First Man. It was a movie about Neil Armstrong going to the moon. What a horrible movie, by the way. And then I understand that after the YouTube came back, that there's this new way for YouTube to delete comments and anything in the chat that they find inappropriate. And it's like they're like this master moderator now. So something to keep an eye out for. If you see something called a YouTube moderator deleting people's comments in the chat, that's a new
I have a golden spanner. I'm the YouTube moderator, and I come with the golden spanner of glitter.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's it, right? Totally messed up. So,
obviously going to be a black spanner of doom. I got that wrong. Sorry, silly me. I was trying to be
close enough.
Carry on.
Just say Facebook bot. YouTube bot.
So you're like a YouTube AI moderator, yeah.
AI, that's a good topic. Yes.
Yeah, we're watching you.
Listening. Yeah, do you know? Yeah, it's only every second 350 number plates are read on average in the daytime in the UK. AI, they store that data and happen like I might go missing and our lass says Dave hasn't come home and it's been like, so long.
Oh boy.
The registry.
So, yeah, we're getting served harder and harder.
You know it. There's stuff out there that's watching everybody all the time, and it's in the name of safety. Remember, safety.
I have to say, it's a bit strange when the whole of YouTube went down for a while, not just for one place or whatever, not because, sometimes it does it on a mobile, but not on the computer or something. The whole of YouTube went for a while. But there was a couple of videos that this guy was saying the internet is going down this weekend. Didn't actually happen at the weekend, but it did happen on yesterday, whenever it was, day before.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, it was about midnight here from UK or something.
Yeah, Richie from Boston said it was going down, and it did. He got something dead on. He was right.
Maybe they needed to bring it down to add this horrible bot thing. This new spy.
Well, exactly. They had to upload something.
I don't know about you, because we all know that, we're real people and we're not robots, and the fact that you can't just, everything's not quite about being on a YouTube hangout or whatever. But when the whole of YouTube disappears, sometimes I want to listen to something sort of relaxing. I don't know. I don't go to Facebook really for it. I go to YouTube for whatever I want to look up, and suddenly it wasn't there.
Upgrade, some kind of upgrades, yes, definitely. These things don't go down because they run monetary and commercial advertising and revenue. They're involved in that. So if a .com such as that has a downtime, that's planned and it's a system. Me now knowing about websites and building 2.coms from scratch, not having to go to uni and doing it the hard way and making blunder after blunder, taking 3 times as long. Yeah, I would say and argue that there's evidence for that. How many have we got a time limit on how long it went down? Was it 5 minutes, 5 hours?
About an hour or 2, because I was awake for probably half an hour, 45 minutes, and I went to sleep. But the thing is that being that we've done Hangouts now since a year ago, June, there was never any problem. Something happened with that eclipse last year in September. Everybody's internet went crap after that. And then in the last few months, there's been these times where it has disappeared for a bit and come back. Like, what it was is I think we were okay because we'd actually started the Hangout. Loads of people couldn't get on YouTube or couldn't whatever, but we'd started before they cut it off and they let us run. So we had our Hangout. And then by the time we've kind of 3/4 of the way through the Hangout, YouTube had come back anyway. But this has happened a few times before, but not the whole of YouTube for an hour or 2. I've not seen that before.
Interesting. Yeah.
But it has happened before. But it could have happened before, but I never saw it before. And we were on for months before this happened. Like nearly a year, about a year. It's been happening this last few months. I don't know what it means. Because they come back. Just not expecting something so big as YouTube to go down, I suppose. It always says the monkeys are working on it. And you get this code, I think it's 501 or something, because you think, first of all, God, I've been deleted. The first thing that comes to mind is, shut the channel down.
They've deleted your intellectual property via legal excuses is what they've done. Yeah, because when you sign up for the account, you submit to everything. So they have the last say. This is why we need our own independent systems. I long to find an intellectual, systems analyst, engineer, designer that I can talk to and say, this and this need to be put onto our website and then like showcased from here. You would, whoever it is steps up that can, make this happen, then would then showcase that out. We would have this independently of agreements like these, that we're suffering for and having channels deleted. We can all use the internet. That's not, owned as such. That's just we have access.
You're right. We sign up to this thing.
We need to. We're clever. We are clever.
Signing into something when we agree to air or your Hangout. And can I just say, it's the same for eBay, right? We legally join up. But the thing is, in it, every time YouTube or eBay change the law, it changes the law for you, especially as we're going to the public. Okay, in YouTube, well, I'm not selling anything or buying anything or taking any money for anything. eBay, I was. But like, when you keep changing the law like that, they don't, like you'd find it on a little notice somewhere right in the background on YouTube. You'd have to remember to go and look at the notices. But it is strange being in something where they keep changing the law.
They're changing corporate policy for one. I'm not having a go at you, but it's not so much the law, it's the rules of the game. Yeah. They don't so much change. If they're changing something, then it clearly isn't law, because law's set in stone. It's immovable. It's, they are parameters.
Sorry, I don't think that's law.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Shitty
little, how they want things.
It's there.
And I mean, I had a social club, right? And I did tickets, and I realised that the terms and conditions, which look like they're for you, they're not. They were for me to say everything that I wasn't responsible for. Yeah. So when you get terms and conditions, you think, oh, that's set up for you. It's just telling you what something is not responsible for. So I do remember that one on my ticket. So, but you see, the thing is, what it means is that they need to put videos out pretty regularly, the update, the law change, the law in YouTube or whatever you want to call it, the conditions. They need to almost be putting videos out weekly, YouTube, so that we all need to go and watch them. Can't just shove it in the background somewhere and think, well, people will know it's there or go and look. If it's that big, then they should tell us.
I would also like to meet app builders I'm going to use this app for advertising. If we haven't got a subject as such, any app builders out there, sister, we could do with app builders, and we could do with getting our heads together and using these technologies and networks for our own devices with our own engineered applications. Now, isn't that an idea? We could sit together and, create whatever. We could even have a hangout, and we could even include people from other continents and say, well, what do you think? What do you need? Apps that would benefit us rather than us be the customer of. We would, we would utilize that for various information. I don't know, sales, commerce as such, privately, trade, all these kind of things, or video networking that we need, and have a web server, a hoster somewhere, and whoever hosts our videos, they could put adverts on, but instead of the typical, devil type adverts, wine from the devil's cellar and shizen like that, we'd have John Smith's whatever, and we'd have our own, organic advertising with our own communities, with our own energy. And we need to look at ways of managing our energy, time, output, input, prospectivity, all of this, something that's beneficial, and move to what, and if there are people like man out there that can do this, then they want to do it for non-for-profit and the good of man, then I'd like to meet you. I'd like to have a chat, because you are just expressing this now, sister, our need for this, because we are at the mercy of submittance, and submittance is not what man does. Man shouldn't do that. We shouldn't submit our rights for the use of something. No, but we do. But remember, whom is signing up to all of this craziness? It's not us. Man doesn't sign up to Facebook and YouTube. Remember the liability. The liability, as we've said, is on the person, because man can't own a Facebook page or a whatever. It's your person you sign up with, the same as if it's your person that they need for the bank account. It's your person they need for the driving license, your person they need for everything. Man doesn't get involved in it. That's where you separate it. So you're all right, because that's always your liability there.
I was going to say something. It's gone out of my brain.
Sorry. Happens a lot with me. I'm used to that.
I know. You're a clever guy, though, David.
It's not clever. It's just seeing the ways of the things at which things work, and the mercy of man, and how we get, taken to the cleaners for it. And we are clever and we are intelligent. And I believe we could put something together over time and learn to boycott these demonic ways, and, these usurpery ways. And you know what it is? Here's an example. You're at an arena or a concert or Glastonbury, and you want to buy just a simple drink, but they know there's no way you can buy anything for miles. So now it's a tenner. What? Well, go and buy it somewhere else. No, it's all right. I'm really thirsty. I need a drink. I need some sugar. I'll pay a tenner for a can of orange. Thank you. And you see what I mean? We need to stop this happening to us. So I'm not saying that Glastonbury is wrong. I'm just using that as an example. Out there, we get the squeeze put on us by companies and corporations, and we need to stop that advantage taking.
Yeah, like if you go to a Marks and Spencer garage, say, anything you buy there is about twice the price it is in a Tesco or in the supermarket. It's quite incredible how much they put on their stuff, and people are prepared to buy it. Anyway, I just wanted to say that there might be something up your street there. Ditra was telling us today that he's going to come out with something that he's doing. I'm not saying it is, but it sounds like it's an app, but it's something that everybody can have for free and can use. But he hasn't said quite what it is yet.
No, don't release it on YouTube, for goodness sake. Complete it first and get ownership of it, then release it.
Yeah, he can't till it's probably, he's hoping to do it just before the conference in America. So that's exciting, isn't it? There's something. And we haven't forgotten that Mr. Thrive has peopleforpeople.life. It's still there, it's still going, and he does want to add things to it. It's just that the add-ons cost a lot of money.
Yes, they do. I'll confirm that. Yes, they do. It's not cheap. It's wow. Yeah. You can get free ones, but they break and it'll ruin your website, and you'll look like a chimp. So you have to pay. Unfortunately, you do.
It's going to be put together a bit more slowly, but it's still there, and that's not a censored site. That's free for the people. And the point of People for People was that hopefully people like you wanted could find each other in their own communities, because there'd be a section on there and you'd know who was living sort of locally to you. Hopefully it grows and grows and grows. And then, you know, I mean, I've even heard police stories, you know, who's going to come to your aid quicker, a police officer or your neighbour? So basically you get your neighbours and your friends and you start helping.
Right. Yeah.
You start bartering with each other. You start, you know, helping each other. I'll bake you a cake if you mend my curtains, or whatever it is, and start learning to be a community again.
Seems simple, doesn't it? That man's forgotten how to be polite. Wow.
The thing is, I even watched one the other day of someone taking, like, they put it to music, and everybody's looking at their mobile phones on the trains, in the streets, on the seats, whatever it is. Dun, 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 dun. I can't tell you that I don't, but like, what it is now we're forgetting to talk to each other. We don't need to now because we're just going donk, 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 donk on the phone. But in a sense, that's what our society's like now. Without some of that, we wouldn't be here today. We'd be on this hangout. So it's all crazy, isn't it? Don't you think, David? It is, though, isn't it? Because the things that we want to sort of procrastinate against, we often need, or whatever it is. But it's just, I just think that if the people were the most important thing and money was money, that would be okay. But it's not. It's money's the most important thing now, not the people. That's the saddest bit.
Corporations, yeah, that's why the Pope Francis did what was it, motu proprio 2011. He didn't do that for the fun of it. It was a message to the corporations. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're right. Lobbyists control law and government, parliamentary, House of Commons type functions and stuff. Yeah, it's truly incredible. Upside down, it's like Mr. Men, topsy-turvy world. It is indeed.
I feel like amazed with like the stuff that you're realizing or understanding through this horrible globe maritime law, that there is proper law there. It's just that none of us knew it was there. I find that like, what?
Yeah, we won the law. I fought the law and I won. I fought the law and I won. Kiss my bum. Yeah, it's true. God damn. I'm going to get shot for that now. They're going to go, I think you're funny, do you? Bang. Well, I die, I live again. It's true. There is justice to be attained, but it only comes with key competence. And your key competence, 90% of these chat room viewers, is very low. And that's the point we would like, why we spend these hours and times and don't go to sleep and invest and build and, you know, promote and chat and seminar, just so you can know, because to know and not to pass on is to be as bad as the ones that you know, perform the function of bondage. So yeah, it's nice actually. Do you know, listen to this, you're gonna love this. This is what life is about. When I went out today training for this how do I put it, training for multi-drop parcel van, you know, delivery. So parcel delivery, multi-drop. Went out training today to have a look at this. It turns out I'm not going to do it, but nevertheless, I'd gone out today for second day of training. The first drop we went to drop a parcel was at a place called Sovereign Court or Sovereign Apartment. Or yeah. And I'm like, hello, hi, what's this then? Sovereign what? But I'm sovereign. I'm the sovereign. I'm out here doing this, and my first parcel is at the Sovereign. So I took that as a hello from the consciousness and a little like, all right, Dave, how you doing? And I had a little smile, and I was like, that's a bit weird. And I told my mate who was with, like, she was training me up. I goes, you know, I told you I've got a website. He went, yeah. I goes, well, the name of it is spls.com. And I'm not trying to advertise. This is, you know, I've done that enough. Yeah, I says, and the name of it is abbreviated from Sovereign Paralegals. I said, and I consider myself to be a sovereign, self-governing private man of the creator, a tribunal in effect. I says, and you may think I'm mad, irrelevant, just put that to one side. We'll put a pin in that. I said to him. He loves me. And he says, I says, look at that there, and look at that. And there was a big blue board. It wasn't like I just went to deliver somewhere that had the name Sovereign in it. There was a placard. There was a massive banner. There was flags. There was a court, not a courtyard like a castle, but it was an estate that was in development. And they were selling stuff at like 75 grand, 125 grand, community centres and all this development. So it was a Sovereign development community centre. I was like, whoa, this is a bit too much of a synchronicity. So give me a little charge. It did. Let me tell you, gave me a rate charge. I tell you, these kind of things are what keeps man going. You know what I mean? Truly, just
on the right path, then. On the right path.
Yeah, because I was in doubt about doing stuff, and I was like, what should I be doing here? Should I just take a bit more time and invest and develop and write more work, what we're doing here, education, workshops and courseworks and books and PDFs, or should I just knuckle down for a bit and chomp up, some commercial trade, because it's going to get busy and it's a lucrative time where you can get some in certain areas. So I thought, yeah, I'll do that. And I saw Sovereign thing, but as it turns out, I've had a phone call from a brother who said, Dave, you don't need to go and do that rubbish. You're a good guy. I'll pay you a good whatever. You come and see me on a private level and we'll have a chat. I said, my brother, thank you very much. Challenging.
Hey.
That's the power of friendship, brotherly love, communication.
Oh, I'm pleased for you. Stop going there then.
Communication is the key to most of all of our problems. Would you not agree? The fact that it gets kept from certain bits of information, that is why we're in the problems now.
You're very right there. Can I ask you, I've asked you this before, how come then, when we think that we're so encased in this horrible maritime law, that the other law was, well, the way it really is sitting there, and yet none of us have really known about it till very recently? Well, through people like you, but I'm just saying, why didn't we realise this before?
Why didn't our ancestors and forefathers invoke this and utilise it, or why hasn't the establishment taught it? Why would the captors teach the captees the rules? They're not going to. It's not going to happen. What is it all about? Why would we have this situation? You got to look at it from an aerial shot, like these Nazca lines and so forth. You've got to take yourself from the whole arena and put yourself above. It's like an OBE when you have an out-of-body experience and you look down upon yourself and you're like, whoa, way up, what's going on here? Oh, I see. And clarity, and it's that. You need to go above it, and you can't wade through it like a maze. If you've got an oppressive force on a landmass and it's doing something to the peoples and the indigenous inhabitants, then they're hardly going to be the ones to give you the remedy and the reasons as to how to escape this, if they're profiting from you. And if the ones involved in this happen to be monarchical and archerial in the form of the House of God and the Vatican Catholic side, and Elites and bloodlines of Egyptian and Persia and God knows wherever else, and it's so contrived, as Bonacci says, it's thousands of years old, and it's got these bloodlines in it that swear to do jobs. When they get there, it's written out and they've already got a pathway to work upon. So when they're born and birthed and created, whatever it is, spawned, I'd like to say, actually. So when they're spawned into this realm, they've got commands to follow out, almost like an army, almost like the monarchy have. You will have a baby here, you will be here, you will marry her, this will be happening here, and, this will be on, and it's planned out for you. But we are the only ones that don't have a plan, that blindly, bump around in the dark in the fear of, oh yes, one day he'll come from the great heavens and he'll make everything fine. But until then, we just starve and, fumble around because we haven't got the capacity to sort it out and make a plan. No, of course we haven't. We just sit and, die, moan, argue, fight, war. It's insane. But, they've done it. The media, look at the music, look at the food, like you said, the poisons, the toxins, the stuff in the air, the monarchies, the monies. It's a long, hard battle, but the jury, the court system comes from I don't know. The court system comes from, you need to have friends that are Masons, or friends that are, not that I have, I'm just saying that those ones in the past that were privy to this were high up echelons, or they come from privy backgrounds, or they was deemed worthy and not peasantry, peoples and ignorance, and the establishments and societies that spawned all this, what did I say? 325.
Do you think it's
It's
more
a
like?
long time ago.
I think it's more like Martin Leakey feels that there was a big flood here, you know, a big, quite worldwide flood in the early 1800s. And basically, wherever you went with all these big buildings, this is people digging themselves out. And actually, that's where we've all come from. With that, really, that we're the survivors.
You just said the 1800s. No, there can't have been a worldwide flood in the 1800s, because that's relatively recent, and we'd have all known about that. You need
early,
maybe not that year.
early 1800s, he reckons.
Yeah, but we're in like 2018 now, so
Yeah,
that's
I know, but that's, you know,
years.
all along when he started talking about stuff like this, I don't know, I was on Hangouts or around him, you know, since I've been on YouTube, he was noticing that maybe we weren't as old as that we think we are, and it just made sense, a lot of what he's saying, because I just don't think we are.
He needs to watch some. That man needs to watch some Michael Tellinger then, and anybody that's following and believing that needs to get their head down some decent YouTube documentaries, some actual handwritten artifacts, search publications like archaeology, and I could name quite a lot to look at that would blow your mind. Just in Turkey alone, what's that place called now? Is it Göbekli Tepe? Bosh. Just go and just search on that, you know what I mean? And it tells you there's things here that clearly point out poignantly, like the megalithic blocks of Lebanon and the carbon dating techniques that we have and stuff. So each to their own. I'm not trying to say I'm right. I'm just saying that, wow, yeah, the bones and fossils.
And he's Flat Earth British, and he regularly puts his videos out and talks about all this stuff. But I find it quite fascinating, because even back, like, you know, even if they're etchings, they've got electricity in the 1700s. They've got electricity, and there's these huge great buildings. I mean, how do they build these things? It's because they're lying to us about whatever's been before that. They're just lying, and whatever was afterwards has come from there. And so, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it all seems to fit into a lot of what I feel that I can see myself, to be honest. The 1800s, so much was invented then. Even we found it on a quiz. Even contact lenses, 1800s. 3D, 1800s. You know, the
industrial revolutions, various revolutions, and in history, and social revolutions, industrial, money revolutions, all kinds, haven't we? And you remember when the air was black, and the coal revolution, and nobody could breathe, and it was all like, wow.
But how do you know now that any of that's true anyway? I mean,
there's photos. It's documented. It's well, allegedly the photos of it, so to say. Yeah, I wasn't alive, so I wasn't there. No.
I mean, I put a video out on the Facebook group Sun and Moon, and someone sent it to me, and it's how they can get anybody's head, you know, even if it's now simulated, Michael Jackson, whoever it is, they can get JFK,
President Putin, or Kim Jong-un, or Donald Trump, or Hillary. Let's go political. Yes, they can get anybody to look like they're saying anything that they make them say. Oh yes,
they're there, and this is what I'm even wondering whether they're using to pretend about the ISS space station, which is why these people look so weird, because none of it's real. It's all computer imaged. But again, I was watching one the other day with this girl. Someone sent it to me, and I mean, her feet are well wedged into those things on the floor, and I'm thinking that's because the plane's going up, and she's like having to like almost hold on in those feet things, and her hair's so far up in the air, it's ridiculous. But I'm just wondering how much of that actually is just computer generated. It can make anybody anywhere saying anything.
I'm outside.
Don't you think that's a bit crazy? You know, that they can make anyone be anywhere saying anything they want, and then report it as real, that it happened when it never did. I think that's a bit crazy.
Yeah, we have
Oh,
technologies, very good technologies, useful technologies, but we only see them used for entertainment purposes or commercial purposes. When it can be used for benefit of man, oh no, you'll have to wait 10, 20, 30, 40 years for that. Oh, we might give it 50 years. All right, you can have it now. You know, that's how it rolls. Yeah, that's why we need to be resourcing and, you know, outsourcing research and engineering and all these things ourselves. That's the key, you know.
do you know the first time I saw it,
The data
that technology?
rocket.
It was
Yeah.
when Trump had won and he was being inaugurated, and then the person used that technology and changed everything everybody was saying. So basically, it was a bit like he had Obama and Trump going, "Hate you, love you, hate," all that kind of stuff, and they weren't saying any of those things. You know, don't forget to leave that at the back door on the way out, all that kind of stuff, because none of that happened. But that's what they made them look like they were saying. I think
Yes.
that's a bit creepy, to be honest.
Parents says, don't believe your eyes. Yeah, don't believe anything you see. Yeah, it's not a nice world to live in. Deception, deceptive worlds, is it? Technology that's very deceptive. It was used by LucasArts. It's a LucasArts technology that they first used in the what title is the Star Wars film? The one where the dead man's come back, the evil emperor. He's actually passed away, and he takes a scene in the I forgot. I used to be into them as a kid, and I used to love them, and I forgot. But I have seen them. I do like to watch them. But
Or do they? So you forget about it.
yeah, they morph into the same one. Whenever when I saw that episode, that film where they written in executive order, this dog does my head in so bad. Executive Order 66, and he decided to I think it was massacre all of the young Jedi. I thought, this is a family film, George Lucas. Why would you want innocent young kids of 6 to 12, 14, 18, you know, even adults to some extent, to see a nice family entertainment film, and then you to write in the script there, Executive Order 66. Yes, George, well chosen. And then, you know, for the young, what was his name now? Darth Vader or Darth Maul, one of the Sith, and he goes and massacres all the young Padawans that are age 6 to 8. I'm like, what? That's just dark. That's too dark for family. That's going over the edge, you know. But
No.
continuing on, this is the man with the technologies that use that technology to write that dead man back into the film to have his part. And I forget, he's an evil emperor. Your chat room will be writing the title and putting it in as we speak, and that's what's come out now. But it was invented in the casting spell world, the deceptive world, lest we not forget. Yes, where this technology comes from, the devil's pits. Not that I'm trying to say George Lucas is the devil's pits, but Hollywood in itself and what it stands for is about as annoying as this dog.
It's crazy, isn't it? We grew up, even in the UK, that's the place I want to go to be a star. And actually, it's actually something completely different, and you need to stay away from there. Anyway, Flat Earth Dude, are you there? While David's sorting his dog out. Flat Earth Dude, Patricia! I really hate that when everybody's muted on the Hangout.
So I've just sorted it. We're all good.
So everybody's muted. Help me!
There's Flat.
I'm here.
Yay, Patricia! What do you think of tonight's talk then, Patricia? What we're talking about? The YouTube going down, the hidden law.
It's just astonishing, really. You know, they think we can be fooled, but we can't, because don't know, for whatever reason they want to do this. We can see through it. Like you said the other day, Karen, we can see through the veil. See, it's clearer and clearer every day. I don't know what we can do about it, to be honest, but yeah, it's sickening, really, when you really see it and see it for what it is. It is quite sickening, but you know, we've got to live our lives the best way we can, you know, and try not to let it get us down.
Yeah, it's pretty damn ugly, isn't it? All that. When you actually, you realise what all of it is pretty ugly. And Yeah, and where do we go? That's the annoying part, isn't it? As a whole.
Yeah, I think the only thing we can do is just like what we're doing here is just bringing everybody together. Just, you know, to love one another. Don't have to like each other. You know, I've got 6 kids and some of them I don't like what they do, but I still love them. You know, and I'll still be there for them. Can't we be like that? You know, just forget about differences and embrace the differences, because if we're all the same, it'd be pretty boring, wouldn't it? So that's the way I see it. But, you know,
Sometimes there's a lot of arguments that happen, and actually the only reason is because they don't understand each other or miscommunicated, and that's it. But it leads up into, you know, big arguments. It's always easier to say this stuff, though, isn't it, than when it's all happening around you.
I know, but there's such thing as apologising, you know, and if it's a sincere apology, then it's accepted. But if it's a half-cocked sort of apology, then they go, yeah, all right then, you know. But then, you know,
Is it?
I
Is
just
it?
think,
Is it the fact that, you know, like if you really wake up, this is a peaceful way, not an ugly, narcissistic, horrible. You know, we've got to learn to get on with each other, and you know, every day me and Patricia say we love each other. You know, get used to saying these things. It's not really said very often. We say I love Flat Earth Dude. I love my chat room. I love David, Astral, Santos. You've got to
That's
get.
why we say it. We say a lot of the word love isn't used enough in this realm now. It's the men don't like to say it, even to the, or they don't. They're not. They don't like to say it. They probably don't feel comfortable enough to say it. Sometimes in public or on the phone to their missus and stuff. And you know, it's society as a whole is, I don't know, some kind of yeah, weird things gone on where our psychic intelligence has been attacked. You know, our psyche, our intelligence, our logic, our 3% of the cranium brain that we use, you know, is being attacked, and we're probably operating on 0.5. You know, I might be operating on 0.8 if I'm lucky. You know, the codons that we have, the food that we put in. Santos is bang on when he's on about changing the diets, and Dr. Sebi, electric food. There's evidence out there, you know, shamanic, you know, temple people, Indian yogis, Buddhist temple men, there's tribesmen, and the things that are out there we've all seen. And we've had Sir David Attenborough and you know, the great blue planet, and oh, look at this, and you know, the destruction and the plastic and the horror, and seen it all. We know it's just that what we do is we worry about money. We worry about, you know, keeping Big Barry from the door. We worry about putting diesel in the tank to get to the slave job, you know, and we worry about the taxes that we have to pay. Now, when you're like an indigenous person, well, man, so slip up, apologies. When you're an indigenous man, inhabitant of the landmass, and you are here, and then a foreign invasive force comes and invents a legal system and imposes upon man, and then invents taxes and imposes, oh, let's not forget slavery first, and then enslaves man and trades man with paper, you know, given credit, you know, and stuff like that. It was backed at some point, but it was starting to, you know, slave and buy man and doing all that. And look at what we've done. You know, it's not great, our history at all. We've not got a proud history. Look how we took Americas and stuff, and you know, we've all allowed it, and somehow it's been allowed, and the church was involved in things. And yeah, we've got a lot to sort out. But like Patricia just said there, that was well said. It was really, yeah, I condone that and agree with it. It starts with,
Was
yeah,
actually saying something. I interrupted her. Patricia, what were you saying? Can you continue?
sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
My nephew, I've noticed my sister and my nephew struggle to say I love you to each other, and I just said to my nephew, I see it this way. Tomorrow, I know this sounds horrible, but tomorrow you could all be dead. And if I don't say I love you and give you a hug when I meet you, because I don't see him very often, I couldn't live with myself. And, you know, this is how I see it. You know, I think in a way we should think that way. That these people, it doesn't matter who they are, you know, I don't mean murderers and, you know, really evil people. I mean just general people. We don't know when they're going to be here next. We might never see them. We might never speak to them. We need to have that. I don't know. I feel really sad when I think that people that I've said hello to might not be here. If that's just me, I'm a bit soppy like that. But we need to have that caring, that we actually care about the other people, not just, you know, it's okay saying I love you, but if you don't show that love as well, it's just emptying it really. If you can feel it in your heart that I really care for this person, I really love this person, don't really know them, but you can still have that, that's, I think, the best way to be. Anyway, I'll leave that up to you now. Go on,
Oh,
Karen.
Patricia, no, I was listening. He's gone silent. Now go say a bit more.
Well, what else is there to say? That's just the way I see it, you know. We don't know who. I just feel so sad that, you know, because I've lost family members, everybody's lost some family members, and you just think, if I could just say to them that I loved them, you know, at the end, but why can't we do that now while people are still alive? Just say, I love you, and I care about you, and, you know, forget the differences, you know, one ear, go in one ear and out the other, and just go, this is a person. I've got to respect that person. I've got to care about that person. I've got to love that person. I might not like what they do, but I still love them. Everyone.
Yeah, very nicely put. I'm sure we do really on. Yeah, there's people like that you've got in your family. I have the same thing.
We all have the same thing. That's the thing. We all have family members that, you know, pass on, or friends or whatever, and that is sad. But what about the people that are still here that we still need to show that we care, and not just family or friends, just everyone. I know that sounds a bit like Miss World sort of. What would you like to do? Well, I'd like to save the world, you know, that sort of thingy. But it is fundamentally that's what we're supposed to be here for, isn't it? Just, you know, not take notice of people saying, oh, don't trust your neighbours, you know, don't trust black people, don't trust.
Oh, carry on, Patricia.
I thought David was saying something.
No, just put video on, just no, sorry.
You know, just don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself, but what have we got to lose? We've got nothing to lose, have we, by showing someone that we care? We can't always be there for them, and that's the sad part, really, that I want one big family, big massive piece of land with a million houses on it, and we all live together in, you know, sing Kumbaya. No, I won't go that far, but you know that.
Guys, that we had got something to give rather than always taking, that would be a start. Always see what you can give.
Exactly, yeah.
A lot of people
we all have something to give,
aren't there? A lot of people are takers. You've got to give. It's only going to work if we can give to each other and you get more back. It comes fold back in folds.
Yeah, I did pass it forward thing a couple of years back, where it's about things I'd prefer to have done something different, you know, like to go around and help someone, but I'm not in a position to do that. So I used to volunteer my kids to do it. Oh, so and so needs help. Can you go around and help them? You know, because I couldn't physically do it myself. But it's like, you say I send you a present, I send 5 presents out, and then you send 5 presents to your friends, and it's like a pyramid type thing. But it's nothing about money, it's about giving them something that obviously put a bit of thought into it. You don't just send them a piece of paper with I love you on it. Well, I don't know, that's all right, I suppose. But that's how we need to be, but we're not with material things, you know. You could just send them a note saying I love you, I don't know if you ever remember me saying this ages ago. When I used to go to church, I used to I'd got my own car, like, but I couldn't drive it. It was a mobility car. And I'd be sat in the passenger side and I'd be shouting, "I love you, you're beautiful," you know, all these nice things. And it was just nice because that one word, them words that I said, could have stopped someone from killing themselves or just made them happy, just made them smile. You know, and that's what I'm about, just trying to make people happy, but in the only way I know, really. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because my son's in bed. He's got a bit of a headache, so I don't want to keep him awake if I can.
It's good to hear you, Patricia. See, everybody, she is there.
Yeah, you can't get rid of me.
No, I can speak. Yes, those words, that when you say those words, there is a Japanese doctor who I've got a PDF publication of. It's about 40 pages and subsequent works constituting about 40 years of this man's life. I've mentioned him quite a few times. Masaru Emoto, Doctor Masaru Emoto. If you search messages in water and rice water experiment, you will find him. To further back up what you're about to find, if you haven't found out about these subquantum messages that you send into the water when you do this experiment, when you get onto that, you will get into a world that's truly like the law, you know, unique and invisible. But to back what this doctor is saying, if you don't get into the concept, you would then look at the subject, cymatics, which is spelt weirdly for a dyslexic man with a K. It sounds like an S, I know, but KYM, yeah, that's how it goes. KYMATICS. It's took me a long time to learn that. I don't mind saying, and that is to do with the phonic resolution of the pitch of the noise, which is to do with the God, I wish Santos was here. I'll carry on though and try and hold it up a little bit in that vein of. So, Sister Patricia, back to I love you and you saying love, that frequency has been measured, and the love frequency, come on now, is 528, is it not, chat room? Back me up on this if I might have it wrong. 528, the love frequency, is it not? Have you not heard of this? That resonant frequency which will heal the sick, and you know, saying I love you has got like the doctor will show you if you search Masaru Emoto and subsequent works and cymatics, you will find that there are patterns left in history. Yes, in secret Masonic temples for one, but in man's buildings and man's places, and all over geographically in the artifacts.
432 in the chat room, David. 432.
See, what's 528 then? 528 something as well, but 432. It goes in the solfeggio scale. If I can quote what it's from, there is a unique sequence of sounds known to nature that is in harmonic resonance, and the frequency of love, when man's giving out the love, you know, and they've measured this and looked at it, it has harmonics and frequencies,
Sorry,
and
David,
they are similar to that.
Sorry, half the chat room now is starting to say, no, it's 528.
That's what I mean. See, there's too many numbers for me. Johnny, back up. Don't quote me on nothing. Always check.
Yeah, a lot of them are saying 432, but a few of them, Cosmic Cat and Trouble, said, no, I think it's 528.
But what it is, it's the so to argue to quit this, you look at the solfeggio scale, and that's including the do, re, mi, so, fa, la, ti, do, and that's the octave scale. But in the classification at present, it's been restructured by the British Board of Music just before the war, at the advice of somebody from Germany. And the frequency modulation of music affects the human psyche. So see how it's a big loop. I've looped it round here, kind of. And by saying I love you is good for you, for me to say, because it gives me the sense of giving love. And when somebody receives it, it's equally as positive because they are feeling the love. So the human heart's measurement of electromagnetic radiance when it's expressing love is something like 300 meters. They've got machines and it will measure and it clicks on and goes, yeah, I've got you. And he walks away and it's like 300 meters. What? Look at it, research the resonant magnetic range of the human heart. And when we all get together and we're having a nice time and, you know, whatever, that magnetic thing there is like a proper like healing in itself. You could measure that frequency. Tellinger would tell you a lot about that. He's taught me about this stuff. So going back to Sister Patricia, yeah, when you listen to, you're at work and you're having your 30-minute break, and while you're munching your breakfast that you've got from the canteen full of all the cancerous sugars and that, you're eating your nice slave breakfast, they've got Jeremy Kyle on, and all you can hear is all that negativity in the background, that will subconsciously make you weak. Now, if you have that same scenario, but it was classical music playing on a radio, I know it's bizarre and it would never happen, but yeah, you're eating your canteen breakfast, having a half-hour break, but you've got Mozart, the symphony concerto of playing, you'll get out your breakfast, weakened, you'll get out that break, weakened because of the stodgy, sugary crap you've just eaten, processed meats and so forth, but you'll also be a little bit more here, powerful, because you heard a better, you know, frequency. So those words and how we say it and why we say it are very, very important. If you go to work and you've got an angry manager and he's always, or they, she or he, are always going on at you and putting you down and belittling you, over time you'll get sick. You know what I mean? And you'll get like, and you'll feel weak. And if you same scenario and you're always encouraging somebody and saying well done and, you know, promoting them and giving them that extra, they will be like, yes.
David, haven't they already done that at work? Because people were saying, have been on our hangout, or saying like 10, 15 years ago, you could have a crack with the people you work with. Nowadays, you're not even allowed to talk to the people you work with. So if you can't talk to anybody and it's all work that you don't really want to be there for, can you imagine? It's the same thing. It's doing it at work. It's just happening everywhere. It's getting negative because you're not even allowed to talk at work, or I don't know. Do you know what I mean? That is true. I've had people come on and say that they're not allowed to talk with each other at work.
Well, we can reference a rather famous national sports outlet that is at a discounted, oh, I'm so clever with things, a national sports outlet that you will all know of that sells things at a discounted price is as far as I'm going to go with that description. If you can cast your mind correctly with this little rendition of news that they were purported to be paying their staff under the minimum wage, because if they was late off a break or they was late onto shift, they were quarter sanctioning them by 15 minutes. You know, like if you're a minute over your break or you come to work a couple of minutes late, they were taking the 15 minutes, not just the nearest 5. And over the week and the months, all these little odd minutes and infractions on company policy, not law, but what you've submitted to when you signed and when, here you go, oh, please give me job. Yes, I know how it is. I've done it myself. So they've then said, okay, and they've come out with wages and they're like, wow, I can't pay my rent now with all my bills because I'm 200 quid missing, or 50 quid, 200 quid, a range of missing. And then it was like, you know, they had to put their hand up to go to the toilet. And sometimes it was said, no, you can't go. You've been too many times. Turns out some of them that were denied to go to the toilet might have been pregnant. What? You know, and this is in the United Kingdom's infrastructure where we're allowed to, the government have signed off on this. It's under legislation, but they weren't operating correctly under the human rights by denying employees the right to the toilet. Now, talking, I don't know how they'd argue that, you know, sanction you on talking, but yeah, it's disturbing to me, to say the very least. The 0-hour contracts were a worry to begin with, how a government and the parliament could allow such a, who would allow, oh yes, the minimum hours we need to give man is 0. No, how can man live on 0 hours? Who's made that up? What numbskull come up with that idea? Was it a crackhead? Someone on cocaine? Shh, sorry.
Hey, David, just changing the subject. Super Leads in the chat room wanted to ask you a question. Can you ask David where he got his top from? I love it.
I don't know where I got this from. It's just a cheap t-shirt. I don't like to come on with brands because I get shot down. So I have to try and wear something that I like that suits me, but hasn't got like any kind of, and I don't, it's not hard actually, because I don't collect Nike and Adidas and all these other such pyramided type Illuminati 3-stripe, whatever it is, you know, homage to. I've gone past that, but I have got some, I do say, that are old, and I don't know, it's just a cheap top, but thank you very much to whom it was. It may be, if you have an Android app, it may, if you go on an app there called Geek, and wow, I'm not advertising, but it sells cheap stuff from China. Hello, yeah, China. And I like to, you know, buy little gadgets and things from there cheap, as laser pens and that, you know.
I reckon when you turn around, then Super Leads went, "Wow, I love it more."
Yeah, it does actually say in the back, it's something like Dragon Ball Z, and it was $2.99 from Geek on the Black Friday sale or something then, or the January sales. Yeah, so I bought like 20 quid's worth of items from there, and I ended up with about 12 items because it was that, you know, they just cut everything down from £3 to £1.50. This was about $2.99. Thank you very much. The watch.
Super Leads in the chat room said yes.
This was $2.99 as well. That's a cheap plastic Lego non-branded. Just, I know it's plastic and it's bad for the environment. I can't find a good hemp watch, sorry, but that's I try to go non-material now, and it seems to work. Yeah, I seem to feel better.
Yeah, well, we may not all be perfect, but once you sort of wake up, lots of things in your life change, don't they? You know, like one of them is we don't watch the television anymore. That's a good thing. A lot of us now think more about our food and our environment and the trees, nature, what we're wearing. There you go, Super Leads. No, you'll make me jealous. And the bit about what Patricia's saying about loving each other as much as we can, you know, and yeah, you know, me, you know, I haven't met certain people, but I know I love them. I just do.
So I don't know all of the new members on my on our.com and the subscribers to the channels that we have, and members to the Facebook family, but I say to them all equally the same. I love you guys, and I love you people, or I love you men, you know, wherever I am. Generally, I love you brothers and sisters, fits better. And yeah, I think it's times when I put like fist bumps and hearts and stuff, they're like, fists and hearts? What is this man thinking? But over time, they come to realize that sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it that counts. And, you know, at first, a man saying, I love you, brother, is a bit like, what? What do you mean? Whoa, stop it. You haven't turned, have you? And all these alarm bells go, and it's like we're programmed. We need to recognize that we are indeed programmed, and, you know, and that's the part that we have to.
I'm telling you where it kind of starts, by the way, but just before we get to that, in the chat room, someone said, oh, I can't see where it is now. Sorry, it's gone up a little bit. But they wanted to know what the sign on the T-shirt meant. Oh, it's Leslie.
No, I don't. Really? Oh, my days. Wait. Have I got a vest on? It's something like, it did say Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dragon Ball Z. That's how embarrassing it is. Yeah, from 1991. It's from a cartoon show in 1991. I forget the name, but I do believe Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dragon Ball Z. And I bought it from Geek App or Wish, which is a Chinese import app for cheap things. There you go. Can't believe it. Thank you very much, YouTubers.
Thank you, David. Yeah, and what else were you saying? Oh, that's okay there, Leslie. He's answered that one for you.
Keep asking questions. I'll just answer questions, and or we can end the hangout. I don't know. It's just keep going. It's.
Oh, Trouble says something you're like, hate is love without understanding. We often hate what we don't understand.
Yes. Sounds like Master Yoda. That sounds like a Master Yoda quote to me. Yeah, that's wise words.
Says, keep getting naked.
It's not that kind of a show.
Woo!
We are not solicitors. There is no soliciting ever to be done ever again. That's banned. That's the devil's. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to do that. I might start saying that to them. Sorry, but I can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. What do you mean you're not allowed to do that? Well, I've got an agreement, and it's like this. If I do that, then, you know, there's books written that says, you know, that's bad. You know, it says it's bad here, it says it's bad there. So I can't do that. You know, I'm not allowed. I'm physically not allowed to do it. Why? I'll get in trouble with big man. It's against my. It's against the contract I have, covenant. What are they going to say then? What? But you must do it. Well, you'll be mad. You know, can't force me to do that. I'm really not. I'm not allowed. That come from a chap from Matthew in Sheffield, actually, the other night. Says I might just say that. I can't do it. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed. Respectfully decline.
Can I ask you something? Because you're of a sensitive person, but do you think the whole thing, like, because obviously women aren't so ego based, they're more emotional based. I'm sorry, that's what I see in women to men. But has it changed how you feel about? Because obviously, you know, you need an ego even to get out of bed. So everybody thinks they don't have it. You've got to have some kind of ego. But I don't know whether you respect your ego, respect other people. Has that changed for you or not at all? You're just a sensitive person to begin with.
Your moral compass comes from within. If you need some others and things to guide you and to tell you, and to, like, Facebook does that. Facebook feeds everybody's ego. The minute you get them notifications, bing, 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 dopamine, is it? Oh, release endorphins, oh, likes, oh, they loved it, oh, comments, oh, shares, ooh, that's what, you know. So we've gone past that because there's that many X Factors and the voices and who wants to be here and I'm a thingy and I can do, and wow, everybody's just gone bosh. The internet, the pornography's just smashed every boundary. There is no, you know, the absolutely ascot. The only way, for love of, mankind's just crashed. Ego, no, it's gone past ego. I'm an idiot. I've told you I'm an idiot. I'm just me. I have my own magnetism, my own vibration, definitely my own energy source. Many have asked me for some. I wish I could, but it's just, you know, as it is. And if you let that run, right, research, all of you that are that way inclined, how I govern that is by a little thing called the Hero's Quest. If you research the Hero's Quest and the 12 steps of the Hero's Quest and bear in mind with Dr. Masaru Emoto and the quantum level of the magnetic resonance frequency universe, all is mind, that you go into, believe me, it goes deep. So if you honor that and respect it, and you do, as Patricia said, and you've implied, and you give and you interact. It's Smithy has quoted this, and others have quoted this synchronicity, and what happens is better than payment. But to learn this lesson, to get to this level, you need age and wisdom and experience, and you need to have fallen on your arse at least 3 or 4 times to have had some harsh lessons that make man think, that's it. I've done it now 4 times. If I don't stop doing what I'm doing, I'm never going to get anywhere. It's going to be, you know, curtain soon. So, and then you get up and then you've learnt your lessons, but your mum can't teach you this. Your dad can't teach you this. Your family can't. A book can't. A video can't. Life teaches you this, and cognizance. And because we're all zombies and droned up and asleep and eating crap that, you know, and drinking and sniffing cocaine and smoking too much weed and, you know, whatever else from the doctor and the TV and the programming and the music. Did I not hear a song today called Ruin Me? Research BBC Radio 1 playlist, Ruin Me, Rule My Life. Chat room, who is that artist? Because I am disgusted. I can't believe I heard that today. National Network Radio with a girl singing Ruin Me and Ruin My Life. It's just, you know, it's just crazy what we've got to do. It's massive.
Yeah, nice and positive song then.
That's what's come out today. It's going to be a smash hit. It'll probably be the theme tune to the greatest, you know, ever TV program, no doubt. But I was like, I'll change the channel, obviously. I was a little bit offended, sister, to say the least.
You start not wanting to watch all this stuff anyway, do you? Listen to it anymore. You know, like everything just changes.
It's a program. It's designed that way, and we're being made to follow it. Unfortunately, yeah. What's going off is, you know, what we allow. Yeah, the food banks. I did a newscast the other day about Canada legalizing cannabis. Is Canada not a Commonwealth part of a country? Who owns Canada? Is it Canada? Have I got that right? Let me think. Canada, before I get shot down, Canada legalized cannabis. Yeah, I think they did, didn't they? It was Canada.
Not sure on that one.
Bosh, yeah, they've done it. Yeah, that's we've decriminalised it in Anglo lands. 3 plants or less is not criminal. It's personal. Blah blah blah. Caught with a small amount in your pocket on the street is no longer an arrestable, detainable offence. So with the establishments managed to stop criminalising youth and man for such things, but Canada's gone. There's different parts of it, I think, different restrictions, but I think there's only one other place, not even Amsterdam, is legalised it. I think it's Peru or somewhere.
They realise how many people actually smoke it. They've got no idea.
No, but it's good that the medical industry and the pharmaceutical, well, not the medical, it's good that some part of some government somewhere has said enough's enough. There's too many people smoking blunts, blah, blah, blah. We can tax this shit, do whatever, molecularly, whatever, give out seeds and that, take over the market and reap it back from them. They can now pay it. And it's like, wow, going back to tax again. Man shouldn't pay tax because, wow. But still, yeah, it's getting there. It's getting medical response. There are, I think, 6 hospitals in the United Kingdom that currently are licensed to use and administer marijuana, cannabis-related medicines. 6 isn't nowhere near enough, but they are getting there. They are, squeezing it through now. But if you use it in a private capacity, I'd argue that you're not liable for anything because you're in private and it's organic compound. It's nowhere near to be classed as a crime, even a criminal offence, because you'd have to consent to a public order, and if you're in the private, then the public order doesn't apply. So once man cognises that, that's how these clever little ones go, what, trouble? 1 minute. Now I'm back. No trouble. Carry on. And that's what they do. There's ways to do that. It's just a quick little sidestep. And off you go. What?
Yes. Yes, the horrible programs that we're put into.
It's there. It's all there, isn't it?
Our generation and the couple behind are the most indoctrinated of it all, though. Before that, you were probably, before the First and Second World War, anybody there, they were different. It's since the Second World War, really. I'll tell you one thing I was going to tell you about, a bit about psychology. Like, in the playground, like, boys and girls, they know they're different. Like, girls can hold their mum's hands till they're maybe even 15, 16, if everybody gets on really well. But a boy stops at about, quite a young age usually, because he knows he's different, and boys don't do that. So it happens in the playground, the segregation. And then I think the book was saying basically boys hate girls and girls hate boys until they start going out with each other.
I don't know. There are some cute little friendships. Yeah. When they're younger, don't necessarily hate. It's the school. It's what it is. It's the programs that they watch. Like Disney and Nickelodeon and BBC and CBeebies and all these other Freeview channels and Pop and Sky TV and the box tells them. It's not so much if we had and we did a test like every we had a private community. And this private community never went, on purposely, never agreed to it, knowingly, consentingly, stayed there. And they had family from afresh. And we let them go through the scenarios again, like what happens in the outside world. And we watched a mixed demographic of, say, different genes, bloodlines, lineage. I'd say a good mix of 100 kids. It'd be, big projects. And we'd say over from growing up to 25, Yeah, it was 25, 20, 25, right? And you'd monitor that all the way through. Be harsh on the kids, though, because they don't know what they're going to be born into, and you'd kind of have to let them get out if they wanted to. But hopefully they'd consent and say, okay, yeah, 25, I'm free, fair enough. And live in that commune and see, or, you'd know enough by the time they're 20, actually, anyway. You'd be able to let them go off.
Do you wish that, I mean, it all happens for a reason and you can't change it. It's the way it is. But do you wish that you'd been a bit younger when Flat Earth suddenly kicked in, if you know what I mean, or you realised so much?
It wasn't so much Flat Earth, it was the word of God. And when I say that, remember, I'm not religious. I've got faith, and it's not got a name. So I'm not promoting that any faith at all. But when you find, wow, granter of dominion, Lord, Yahweh, Elohim Ra, these words that are there, and it's like too many, languages, scriptures, old, new, scrolls, which one, tablets, but you find eventually you go through it all and you go on your journey and you go through and you find it. So it's about that. It's about finding when you find how you find God and how you describe that. And when I have these synchronicities, I don't think that I'm anything special, and I don't think that I'm anything above anybody else. It's just that I have a little plan in my head, and I have to keep checking somewhere if this plan's going on and stuff. And
It's changed a bit, though, hasn't it, since you were 25?
Yeah, if you knew this, if you knew all, you're too ignorant. It's good. Listen to Alan Watts. I'm not telling you, but if you have time, Alan Watts and Napoleon Hill and various things that they say, they're two of the most prolific old school. They may have Masonic connections. I would argue to know that much information way back in day dot, you would be from a privileged, silver spoon background, but nevertheless, the information is there now for the good of all, whether it be 50, 60, 70 years later. George Carlin, excellent mind again. He'd tell you how it is, and we just go to sleep and we forget about it. We get up the next day for the alarm for work, and that's it. Zombie mode, alarms, bells ringing. What happened at school? The bell rings, get up and go. Woo, zombie mode, bell rings without question. Get up and you go. Woo, then sit down, bell rings, and then you get up in the morning, bell rings, you get up, and you're off. Forgotten. But then someone at work might say, hey, did you watch thingy on YouTube last night, Sun and Moon? And then they'll be like, and then they come out of that zone and they're like, what you say? And you go, did you see Sun and Moon last night? Well, you think, oh yeah, we're all right, that weren't it? And then 20 minutes we're having a chat, boss man comes in, hey, what are you two doing? Talking, did you see Sun and Moon last night? Never mind Sun and Moon, get my money earned. And back into zombie mode again. Sorry, boss. And that's so you have, even though you're conscious. No, wait, even though you are duality here, asleep, subconscious, now awake, conscious, but within that conscious, there are levels of that actual conscious and the God part, and knowing all of this, you have to build up within your, levels, or somebody has to come along that knows quite a bit, and you have to have a notepad and listen to them and make all the notes and go away and practice stuff and see. And that's how me and Andy promote things within the health and wealth, and to some extent we can prove most of it. It's not just a belief where you need to go and pray and hope, and one day, we don't need a book to operate. I don't need a book to refer to and say, oh, quick creator, what do I need to do, or where do I need to face, and how many times do I need to do it, and what do I need to wear, and when do I eat, and what do I eat? No, fuck that shit. Just carry on with life and be good and have a good, thingy, and it works quite well for me. You get lost in it all and you obsess about it, and you forget then about the rest here, because your focal point may be on the wrong thing. You might have focused on the wrong thing, and because you're focused on the wrong thing, you're missing all the good that's around you, and because you're not going to stop and look, you might be going to the wrong place, but you'll never know. I yield.
We've been going for a couple of hours, David. David, do you want to talk for a bit more, or do you think that we've kind of been on more or less long? Well, we've been on for about an hour and a half, hour and 3/4.
No, I like talking to the chat room. If they're happy and Flat's got nothing, Pat's got nothing, you've got nothing, then we can call it a day, yeah. I speak it too much. I wanted a night off anyway, and I've covered all the topics I wanted to
We
cover.
love hearing what you've got to say because you know it's important. We all need to. You're just telling us like you could read it in a book. You're telling us the book.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the signs are there, the keys are there, the logic is there, the evidence is there, the proof is there. It's all there. In a world of an abundance of information and access, I will tell you now that the ignorance that man has is by free will. And this evil satanic system that operates relies upon that ignorance, using of the lack of the free will. And so it's just there going, sucking it out, and they're all crying and moaning and petitioning. And it's like, there's such an easy way out, but because you won't, unfocus, that system will take it from them. And it's like, we need to step in and go, just 1 minute, have you heard about this? And then get them out. That's all it is.
Yeah, you've got so much information there. It's like we said before we came live, that it's a bit like you're at number 1 and there's 12 behind you, front, side of you, and you're on number 1 and they all link together and you've got to say it all in about 10 minutes.
No, well, you go and watch other speakers. Use your own due diligence. That's all it is. You put my videos on at 50% speed. Hey.
Oh no, David. What I just mean is, there's just most flat earthers must realise that once you start one subject, there's about 3 or 4 other areas you've got to go and look at the same time.
Oh.
They lead on to a few more, and that's the same thing with you, isn't it? When you're talking, it's always going on to something else. Always, spirals, and it goes off here and there. It's very hard, isn't it? And so much information. We very much appreciate that you've tried to tell man about the law they should be looking at, not the law they follow.
Yes.
And me, I'm thinking, if a bloody came to the door and he says, "What's your name?" I'm going to have to say, "My name's Karen." He's going to ask me. I'm going to have to say, "Oh my goodness!" It is a bit strange, isn't it?
No,
to be careful.
It's knowing, it's protecting yourself. If you just want to have a go and play, just test it and see what happens, and the proof will be given unto you by the lack of authority given to them, because they may have assumed or they may need the consent. So either way, whether it be by assumption or consent, like we say, a good way to not get locked up in the United Kingdom for a civil infraction involving a local government tax would be to make a conditional acceptance to stay in honour. So when I appreciate when we talk sometimes, I paraphrase and assume everybody knows what these paraphrases and terminology means. But as an example, if you have ever heard us say, and that's keeping in honour, or that's how you keep in honour, what we mean by that is that if you want to argue something and you don't want to go to prison for it, for them running amok around you, to keep said account in a good order and to keep it from going to a collection agency, a debt enforcement agency, or to a collection enforcement stage where an execution is issued, a warrant of execution for a order for taking control of goods. This is all serious stuff that it happens every day to thousands of people, and they don't know how to keep in honour, because they're trying to keep in honour by using a telephone and 1 minute, let me just put the camera off, by using a telephone and operating that account as that said named person and as that said named straw man and fiction, and it does them no good, and they get into trouble. So
you know what, in a sense though, like I've said it before, you've almost had to turn into a solicitor. It's like being a solicitor with understanding all the words and the terminologies and what it really means. In fact, you're a double solicitor because you've had to understand theirs and the way it really is.
Yeah, well, this is just knowledge and wisdom, and Santos, Bonacci, and Romilly Stewart, and Winston Shrout, and that man Noam Chomsky. I haven't mentioned him enough. He's Alan Watts, Noam Chomsky, and that guy. Who did I say now? Napoleon Hill. Watch them. They're my 3 top guys to talk to, listen talk. But you got to go out there and immerse yourself. Do your history, do your research, and if I've collected records and MP3s and in the hundreds of thousands, and I can catalogue them in my brain and mix them and produce sounds, and know that they'll work and do what I did as a DJ, then it's a swap of capacity. You just move the useless for something that you're now interested in, like gaining access to your property, blood, sons, and see how you get on with that.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
I
I
think that
was
was one of the strange things
able
that
to
I
do
heard
it.
from you when you basically said if you had to do this in court that your children are your property. I thought we were getting away from all that, but you've got to actually say those things because it changes the contract thing that they're talking about.
Yeah, they used to trade slaves with a bill of sale. The bill of sale was for the property. And what we have to do is argue that's an asset. You see, oh, he's a lovely. Look at them lovely curly, golden locks or curly hair and beautiful smile. Oh, he's definitely an asset to you, and that's it. They are assets, and they're assets to us. And that's how we have to portray them in law. But if we wasn't mixed up in this legal order, this legal construct of order operativeness, it's a legal operative that we've got mixed up in, and the legal operative merely needs separating from you. So yeah, it's not my work, it's my work, and to some extent I have produced some documents collating the work of many over the months and years. So yeah, it's an intent, it's the application, and I'm just one of those because I've collected records and CDs and done things that are kind of fragmented and brought them together to make 160. The longest mix I've done was about 8.5 hours in the Republic Beach Bar, or from 12 dinner time till 6:30, something 6.5 hours, and then go somewhere else, and after an hour's break DJ for another 6.5 hours till 3:30 in the morning. So I've had extensive experience at taking, and when I'm looking at my music database, I may have something like 200 to 400, 600,000 tracks in these external hard drives on laptops, and I'm searching through and using my brain and doing that. So some of us, others out there, will be doing this. Some out there use F1 racing simulators, and they have these racing games up with 6 screens, or flight simulators, and there's many out there that can do this. It's just that we don't have the belief. We don't have the encouragement. We don't have the ability. We don't have the intent or the application.
David, in the chat room, Blue Tom's put, we don't smile enough.
You do smile when a parcel man comes and gives a parcel, though. I've never seen so many smiles in my life. But other than that, life is but a frown because it's ruled by the crown. Shh, that's my saying. You can have that. Life is but a frown because it's ruled by the crown. Which one, though? There's 3. All 3 of them. Yeah.
Actually, do you know there's 3 U's? There's who you want to be, who you think you are, and how everybody else sees you. It's 3 U's.
Me, myself, and I. Yes, correct. I am a tribunal. You are correct. Tree is the magic number. Yes. My Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, tree, 3 kings. You getting it?
Yeah. The 3s. Oh, we seem to have lost Flat Earth Dude, but he was at work. He did say that, and he obviously couldn't really. Yeah, they're probably there while he's mending. He went to someone's house, I think.
Bless him. Good lad.
David, it's always a pleasure talking to you, and I very much appreciate you coming on. Matthew, like I said, he had friends turning up. Santos had food poisoning. Poor Santos.
Oh, no.
We send him our love, and thanks for everybody still coming into the chat room and talking and everything. And thank you, Flat Earth Dude. Who else has been here? Thank you to Patricia, and thank you to you. Is it just 4 of us today? Just 4 of us today. So thank you very much, David, and the chat room again. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from us. And we're back tomorrow with Mr. Thrive and Survive. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Bye.
Ciao.
Love you all.
Ciao, Bella.